The AL West standings getting more intriguing by the day. And with this weekend series win over Tampa Bay, the Rangers stayed in front of the pack. Now as the struggling Mariners come to town, the opportunity to maintain the lead is at hand, but it won't be easy. For the second time this season, they're going to have to face Cliff Lee, who's continued to perform at an all-star level. The first of 4 straight against the division rival Mariners coming up right now on Fox Sports Southwest. The Major League Draft is underway tonight, and somewhere behind those doors, the Rangers Brain Trust will be emerging soon to let us know who's going with the 15th overall pick. The Rangers also picked 22nd, 42nd, 49th. Oh, and there's baseball, actual Major League Baseball tonight, too. The Rangers and Seattle. The Rangers are in first place right now, but only by half a game in the AL West. It's a busy night in Arlington. We welcome you to it. Along with Tom Grieve, I'm Josh Lewin. Right?
I think that's
that's who I am. The Rangers, on this very busy night, send Scott Feldman out to the mound. And Scott in Chicago last time, the line didn't really look that great, but he pitched very, very well.
He did. I think it's the best stuff that he's had all season, even better than his first 2 starts, which statistically were pretty good. He had about a 6-start stretch where he really struggled. But in this particular start, he had his sinker in on the right-hand hitters. His cutter was sharp. His ball dropped, had more movement than it normally did. And if it weren't for 2 Paul Konerko home runs late in the game, his line would have been a lot better. Gave up 2 runs early in the first inning on a couple of cheap hits. Overall, though, that was a real positive outing as far as his stuff goes, and hopefully he can carry it through to tonight and be just as good tonight.
He's not exactly taking on the 29 Yankees when it comes to the batting attack, but the Seattle Mariners are due to bust out. They are right now 8 games behind the Texas Rangers, and with designs on making a move. We know they can pitch. Cliff Lee won a Cy Young Award in 2008. He's got the ball for the Mariners tonight. It's the Rangers and Seattle when we come back. by the Ford F-150. Check out the 2010 F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. By Progressive. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. By Jack in the Box. Try Jack's new grilled breakfast sandwich. And by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag. It's on. Scott Feldman only 3-5. Remember, last year he was a 17-game winner. The ERA is a bloated 5.82. He has taken on the Seattle Mariners tonight. The Mariners have been alternating 3-game win streaks and losing streaks over the last 2 weeks. They have won 3, lost 3, won 3, lost 3. And here they come for a 4-game series with Don Wakamatsu, the former Ranger bench coach, in charge. Seattle overall 22-34. Ichiro is the one guy in the lineup hitting. That's no surprise. .358 batting average. Milton Bradley's hitting only .211. Gutierrez, who started well, is down into the 280s now. Then it's Jose Lopez and just up from AAA, Mike Karp. Josh Wilson is the shortstop. Rob Johnson is the catcher. Saunders and Figgins at the bottom of the order. And a little more information on Scott Feldman for you right now.
He's had 11 starts. The numbers don't look good. A lot of hits. Not many strikeouts. Through 8 innings in his last start against the White Sox, gave up 5 runs but threw the ball really well. 7 career starts against Seattle. They've gone pretty well. 3-1, 3.13 with the ERA. And I think Scott's headed in the right direction. His start against Kansas City, then his start against Chicago. He had pretty good stuff. Was a little bit inconsistent. The numbers don't look that good, but the ball looked good coming out of his hand, and hopefully he'll continue tonight in that same direction.
It certainly starts with a challenge. Ichiro is 18 for his last 38 at-bats. The Rangers defensively tonight with Gentry, Hamilton, and Murphy. And Elvis Andrus gets the night off. So does Justin Smoke. Got a tough lefty on the mound. And the Rangers have Matt Trainer working with Scott Feldman. And there is Elvis Andrus just waiting it out tonight. He's got a 12-game hitting streak, but playing in 97-degree temperatures over the weekend. Just time for a night off. And Andres Blanco gets the start at short instead. Ichiro swings and lofts the first one foul out of play. We are at 92 degrees game time tonight. Now Ichiro, a 10-game hitting streak, lines that one. Again, it's foul. Seems like every time we talk about Ichiro, it's a hitting streak somewhere around 10.
Well, he's probably had a lot of them in his career. You don't hit 330 to 340 every year without putting together some pretty good streaks. Plus, he doesn't walk very much. So very seldom does he have less than 4 or 5 at-bats, which means he's going to get a lot of hits. Makes good contact, doesn't strike out, runs real well.
Yeah, he leads the majors in infield hits. And pretty much off the bat tonight, we're seeing what he does so well, just hit the ball the other way. The Mariners have changed considerably since the last time we've seen them. The retirement of the future Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr. Jack Wilson is hurt. Mike Sweeney has just gone on the DL. They've even changed up their base coaches. Lee Tinsley and Mike Brumley have swapped. Tinsley now the third base coach and Brumley at first. That one outside from Feldman. There is Tinsley. And Mike Brumley, whose daughter just graduated here in the area and was actually here ahead of the team yesterday, is now at first. As if we didn't see enough foul balls in that game yesterday. Here's a parade of them from Ichiro off the bat tonight.
Yeah, most of them are weakly hit and hit the other way. So far so good for Scott as far as the quality of his pitches go.
The Rangers had to throw 210 pitches in that game yesterday. The 9-5 loss to Tampa Bay. A little bit outside, says Jeff Kellogg.
Oh, how he took that pitch. That was pretty close. Not a strike, but Ichiro doesn't always swing at just strikes. He'll expand the zone a little bit.
In play finally. There's Kinsler.
That was a good pitch right there. Looked like a cutter that went down. He beat it right into the ground. Took a while, but he made some good pitches.
Now that pitch is kind of zeroing in towards Ichiro, and it's an easy out.
One of the main places where Seattle's offense has faltered is right here, the second spot in the order. Sean Figgins was expected to pair up with Ichiro and give them a lot of base runners. They never had much of a middle of the order to begin with. The power was going to be a question. They hoped that Milton Bradley would supply some of it in the middle of the lineup. But when you see Figgins hitting ninth, you know that so far the plan has not worked very well.
And Bradley, of course, had to go onto the restricted list for more than 2 weeks, dealing with the anger management issues. A lot of that blossomed right here in a game that he played against the Rangers. And the way he kind of waved off some fans. One of his fingers was waving. Milton Bradley dealt for Carlos Silva even up. The Cubs and the Mariners making that swap, and Silva won today for Chicago to go to 8-0. Meaning Bradley better hurry up and hit 340 or that trade is going to look really lopsided.
When you see Silva go 8-0 this year, you wonder what in the world happened to him the last couple of years when he wasn't even close to that. Well, that's something we didn't see Milton Bradley do very often when he was here. Wave at a 3-1 pitch like that. He was one of the 5 best offensive players in the league the year he played for the Rangers. Not sure what's happened to him since then, but
laces that one into right. That's the kind of thing we saw a lot.
We saw that all season long.
When he led the American League in that OPS stat, the on-base percentage plus slugging percentage, it was .999. It's good to see Milton smiling, to be honest with you. I mean, as much as he is known as a moody and brooding guy. I mean,
I promise you, if he'd taken strike 3 right there, he wouldn't be smiling on the bench. He's smiling because he got a base hit. That's the only reason.
Now Franklin Gutierrez. He's a defense first guy, but he's actually handled the bat very well this year too. A lot of talk about the Major League Draft tonight. Not so much for the Mariners. They're not going to pick until somewhere in the 40. I think they got the 43rd pick. They lost their first round pick when they signed Sean Figgins. And the Rangers, meantime, have hoarded draft picks. They're at 15, 22, 45, and 49. Bryce Harper, the wunderkind from Vegas, no surprise, goes #1 to the Nationals. And out of A&M, the #6 pick going to Arizona. Delino DeShields Jr. goes to the Astros. And out of Arlington, there's Michael Choice, the UTA product that I think a lot of people were hoping the Rangers might be able to grab. But the A's got in there, and their choice was Choice.
I think before the college season started, there might have been a chance that Choice would last into the middle of the first round or a little bit later, but as the college season unfolded and he continued to hit tape measure home runs and walk a lot, that combination is pretty solid. Plus he has pretty good speed, a lot of real good tools, good power, and I think he might have come close to leading college baseball in walks this year.
And it's always just such a nice story, at least for us anyway, and for the fans, when it's a local product. We've seen what Jason Hayward has meant in Atlanta. I mean, not only is he talented, but he grew up right there in Atlanta. It's just a nice thing to be able to talk about. We'll keep you posted. We're getting closer to the Rangers' first pick. The White Sox are on the clock right now. Wave and a miss by Gutierrez, and down he goes. Scott Feldman gets his first strikeout of the night.
That's an effective location for Scott, because if you're a hitter and Scott's throwing well, you have to be aware of the cutter and the sinker down in the strike zone. And then when he comes up and in like that,
with pretty good velocity, it's pretty tough to catch up with it. And not only was it in a location that was tough, it had pretty good movement on it too. It was coming in on his fists off the plate. Best he could have done with that is foul it off.
I think the thing about the draft is you can doodle on your napkin all you want to and think that you've got it figured out. And unless you're Jim Callis of Baseball America, you're not even close.
No, and you know, when it comes right down to it, what difference does it make?
Well,
today when they pick the players, I'm going to know just as much as Jim Callis. And he worked for 3 months trying to figure out what the order was going to be. So he was way ahead of me until today. And right now, I know the first 13 picks just as well as he does.
He.
He probably.
And you did no work.
He probably knows their scouting reports a little better than I do, but I know the names right now anyway.
2-0 to Lopez, is right back to Feldman.
Scott, good first inning.
Underhand flip to Joaquin Arias. The Rangers are almost on the clock. We'll keep you posted. No score. Bottom of the first coming up.
He's managed to win 3 of his 7 starts with the Seattle offense, but the numbers are just incredible. 52 2/3 innings pitched, 4 walks, and 50 strikeouts. Best in the major leagues runners per 9 innings, less than a runner per inning. Last year's has been a Cy Young Award winner. It's just amazing. He's walked less than a batter per 9 innings over his last 27 starts. Gone at least 8 innings in 4 of his 8 starts. Hasn't walked anybody in half his starts, all home starts. 4 home starts, hasn't walked anybody.
He was at his best against the Rangers. That start right at the end of April up in Seattle, and a lot of pomp and circumstance around that start for him. It was his first as a Mariner. Missed the first 4 weeks with a strained ab, or set of abs, I guess. Strike 3 to Gentry. What is that now? 4 walks and 51 strikeouts?
Pretty amazing.
Whew.
He has such good command of his pitches that it's tough for a hitter to catch up with him.
There's the Mariners outfield. There's the Mariners infield. Here comes the Mariners battery. And here comes Michael Young, who has hit safely in 19 of his last 21 games, a batting average at .317, and really good career numbers against Lee.
You know, Lee is not signed for next year. He can be a free agent after this year. And you have to think that at some point in time, if the Mariners don't start swinging the bats, sometime after a month, you know, maybe 6 weeks from now, they're going to think strongly about trying to get some young players for him.
1-2 the count is, by the way, tagged. The Rangers are now on the clock.
All right.
It's so weird. We said this yesterday. It's the only sport where, I mean, can you imagine the Cowboys are on the clock and they're going down the field on the Eagles right now, 1st and 10. The June draft is a tradition. There used to be a January draft as well as a June draft. That has since been abolished. It's all done in June now. Young with a grounder towards short. Josh Wilson in for the injured Jack Wilson, makes the catch and the throw across. Now Kinsler, another guy with a history of success against Lee. That ball popped in right. Ichiro was playing back. That's to come on, and he will. A 10-pitch inning for Cliff Lee. And we'll see if the Rangers have a draft pick within the next couple minutes that we can tell you about. No score tonight here at the end of 1.
Paradise Center, right, Serena?
Yes, sir, that's correct. My name is Serena Williams, and I have a mental illness, and the place that I work at is a place that it's a community center run by friends, helping friends with mental illness, and anybody's welcome to come.
There we go, and you see the information on the screen, and best of luck, Serena. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the game, all right?
I sure will.
There we go. Serena Williams,
right.
Thank you.
Nice.
Go Rangers, yes.
Thank
Josh.
you, Jim. I'm sure she never hears anything about her name ever. Mike Karp takes a strike from Scott Feldman. Karp just brought up from Tacoma today, with Mike Sweeney having to go on the DL with a bad back. We saw Karp a little bit in September last year and was having a pretty decent start to his season down at AAA this year. 10 home runs, 31 batted in.
We've talked about Figgins struggling. The other guy that's another guy, there's more than one, who has struggled is Casey Kochman.
Yeah.
Who came over in the offseason. I think they were hoping that he'd be a big part of their offense. Hasn't worked out that way.
Boy, welcome back to the big leagues. Mike Karp puts one in the alley in right center. And a leadoff single here to bring up Josh Wilson.
Kochman hitting 194 without much power. So maybe Karp is going to be the guy that gets called up, gets a chance to play some first base.
The Mariners have definitely been challenged offensively. We've talked about that. And even when the season began, you did wonder who was going to drive in all the runs. You thought they'd load up on base runners with Ichiro and Figgins. And it's been Ichiro, yes, Figgins not so much. You talked about it, Tom. Figgins hitting just .220 and has had to rally to get it there.
He's been striking out a lot. I'm sure he's trying to be patient and get some walks, but it's led to taking a lot of strikes.
Towards third, slowly hit though. Michael Young quickly to Kinsler. The release, and Arias with the pick, but safe to call at first. And Joaquin Arias, getting only his third start at first base, did that well.
Well, the one thing that Ron Washington has said that's true, he's a shortstop. He's not going to have any trouble catching the ball. He's got excellent hands because he's a middle infielder. It's just a matter of learning the positioning, but that kind of a play should be easy for Joaquin, just because he's used to making plays like that. I wouldn't advise Joaquin to try the Chris Davis stretch because you might have to pry him up off the ground, but he'll be able to catch the ball.
All right, we do have a pick to tell you about for the Rangers. We'll do it in just a moment, and stay with us because in a little bit, probably in an inning or so, we'll have a lot more information for you to talk to John Daniels and the scouting staff. But the first pick is in for the Rangers at number 15, and they take high school center fielder Jake Skoll out of Georgia. And this is a guy that, boy, just started gathering momentum on that draft board. There's a base hit for Johnson on in the center field.
If memory serves me correctly, I think he's a football player too. Two-way player.
Yep, Georgia Tech is where he's committed to play both. And ironically, that's the Marlon Byrd story right there. Marlon was supposed to be a two-sport football, baseball guy at Georgia Tech. He missed a lot of this season with an ankle problem. But as I'm sure we'll hear going forward, one of those five-tool, all-around athlete kind of guys. And certainly a guy that won't be expected to do that much right now. Only 18 years old. You take a high school player, that's certainly different than taking a college junior who's 21 and a little more polished. Anyway, we'll hear more from the Rangers, get the official word on why they like this kid and their designs on actually getting him signed. Of course, the reason why the Rangers had the number 15 pick in the first place, because they failed to sign last year's first-round pick, Matt Perk. Rip and a miss by Saunders, 1-1. Anyway, if you want to Google it, Jake Skoll, S-K-O-L-E. Number 15 overall. Saunders will bounce one foul.
That's a good sign right there. The cutter in on the fist. There was about a stretch of 5 or 6 starts where Scott just wasn't able to command the pitch. I don't think he really had a good one either. That's a good one. That ball broke sharply, and he threw it right where he wanted to. To get the ball about belt high in on the fist like that, it's tough for the hitter to hit it. Get it down, left-hand hitter has a little bit better chance, but belt high and in like that, not much you can do with it.
Saunders rips one up in the air to right field. Back at the wall, it's gone. Saunders hits it out. He had been just 5 for his last 35, and he rips this one for a 3-run shot.
It's all about command. It's all about location. The pitch before it was a cutter in on the fist and jammed him for a little dinky foul ball, and came back with the same pitch, and this ball's right down the middle of the plate. Upper part of the strike zone, right in the center. He never got in where he wanted to, and that's the difference between a weak ground ball and a home run. The first one broke sharply, and that one just spun and was right in the middle of the plate.
Boy, with Cliff Lee on the mound, you sure don't want to give up 3 early, but on one swing from Michael Saunders, that's the case. Saunders, a native Canadian, was coached for a year in high school by Rich Harden's dad, who was here right now, by the way. His dad, Russ, watched Rich on the mound yesterday, that 9-5 win for Tampa Bay. Frustrating game for the Rangers yesterday. It took 4 hours and 6 minutes to get through. 6th longest 9-inning game in the history of the franchise. We mentioned the Rangers had to throw 210 pitches in that game. 110 of them, actually 111, were from Rich Harden in 5 innings. That ball blooped into shallow left field. It's going to fall right down in front of Hamilton. And Sean Figgins, with plenty of speed, is on. Or, excuse me, in front of a Gentry in left. Hamilton in center tonight.
That was a pretty good pitch right there from Scott. Jammed him, but pretty good location by Figgins to get that little blooper just a little bit over Blanco and just a little bit in front of Gentry.
Josh Hamilton, with tongue firmly in cheek, said before the game, referencing the musicians that were here yesterday, the redneck tenors. He said, "We got the redneck outfield tonight." Bunch of Southern guys, Gentry and me and David Murphy. There's some room in right center right now with Ichiro up. We've talked about Ichiro hitting the ball towards the left side a lot. He had a slew of foul balls down that way in the first inning off Feldman, and then finally rolled out to the right side. Grounded to the left. And the count 1-1. The 3-run homer by Michael Saunders. And the Mariners with Cliff Lee on the mound, out in front 3-0.
The Mariners hit the ball hard this inning. Both singles were hit well, preceding the home run.
Figgins going, got a good jump. Matt Trainer comes up throwing, it's high. And too late to get Figgins. Stolen base number 13 for him.
Bradley's single was a hard hit ball. The only one that wasn't of the 5 hits was Figgins' little blooper to left field. Big lead. The thing that makes Figgins such a good base fielder is how quickly he reaches full speed. He's not tall, but he's strong. Strong-legged kid. He's not going to be hitting 220 much longer. Much better than that.
Going to third now. Trainer fires down there. The tag from Young. Got him.
Beautiful play by Michael. Throws a little bit offline. Figgins, I'm not sure, got a very good jump there because he was a dead duck. He's on second base with Ichiro hitting. He's a .358 hitter. Kind of taking the bat right out of Ichiro's hand. Catcher has a much easier chance to get the base runner when it's a left-handed hitter. Clear shot at him. And they got him.
Real nice play by Michael. You're right. Ichiro takes and he's on. What great look at it here. There's the tag on the thigh.
Call by Larry Vanover is right on top of it. Very close play.
Boy, nice pick over there by Joaquin Arias on the skipped pickoff attempt by Feldman. Bradley now has been back for a couple of weeks since going into some pretty intense therapy. And he hasn't talked that often publicly about all that was involved there, just the need to get some help. Trying to shout down the demons within, so to speak. The one comment he did make that I think rubbed people the wrong way in Chicago, when he talked about how things did not go well in Chicago, he said, well, there's just no time to address these issues in Chicago. And I think Cub fans were, I mean, they all would have signed off on, hey, take 2 weeks and figure some stuff out if it's going to make you come back and contribute.
The way it was going, couldn't have been any worse. And essentially what that statement meant was he didn't take the time. But the big thing is he has sought help, and hopefully that will help him. I don't want to see anyone suffer the way he apparently was suffering.
Off speed, strike called. The Mariners on right now just a bizarre road trip. Makes no geographical sense at all. They're going from Seattle here to Arlington, to San Diego, to St. Louis, and then back to Seattle.
That's a lot of miles. They put in a lot of miles anyway.
Outside to Bradley, 1-2. Yeah, that is not an itinerary that really helps your body clock right there.
No. Scott's got his pitch count up to 45 pitches already after a long second inning. It was a short game for Rich Harden, 5 innings. And at this rate, it's going to be a short night for Scott.
Last one tried to come back and grab that corner. Almost made it there. Big lead for Ichiro. Bradley down on strikes. Took a while, but Feldman's out of the inning. A 3-run homer from Michael Saunders has made it 3-zip Seattle. Ranger to the All-Star game in Anaheim. Vote early, vote often. Vlad Guerrero at the plate right now is leading decisively in the DH category, way ahead of Hideki Matsui. Chance for Vlad to go back to Anaheim and show off a little bit. As it stands right now, Crawford, Ichiro, and Nelly Cruz would be in the outfield. Josh Hamilton running fourth. Longoria, Jeter, Cano, and Morneau, who's overtaken Teixeira now. Vlad would be the DH. Joe Mauer, the catcher.
We talked how well Cliff Lee has pitched this year. 6 out of his 8 starts have been starts with 2 earned runs or less. He's had 1 start against Tampa Bay where he gave up 4 runs, and then 1 start against San Diego where he gave up 7 earned runs. So he's had a couple of starts where he's gotten hit around a little bit. He's had 6 where he's been pretty good.
8.5 base runners per 9 innings. Not even Ubaldo Jimenez of the Rockies can claim that. That guy's 11-1 with an ERA of just a shade over 1.
Well, the way he's pitched this year in most of his games, it's hard to put together 3-4 hit rallies against him. I think what you have to hope for is that you get a couple men on and someone hits one out.
How's that looking? Vlad Guerrero towards right. Nope, not quite.
And the other side of it is, it's hard to put together a streak of 3 or 4 hits against him. It's just as hard to hit a home run. He's only given up 1 home run in 52 innings.
That was in his. It was a trade that really resonated very loudly all around baseball. And Cliff Lee ending up going to Seattle. Hamilton first pitch swinging. I think Lee was as surprised as anybody how that all came down. He thought the Phillies would sign into a long-term contract extension, but as it turned out, he was part of that big 3-team trade that made Roy Halladay a Philly. Towards short.
Shift got him. They were really shading him towards second base at shortstop, and Wilson was right there to make the play.
2 down, and Joaquin Arias comes up. You can see where Josh Wilson is. I think Lee really is what Eric Bedard was meant to be all along for Seattle Tech, that dominating complement to Felix Hernandez, a lefty control artist. We're going to see Felix Hernandez tomorrow.
And I think the Phillies, it just goes to show you the Phillies draw well, have a lot of resources to keep and sign players.
Arias, a little bloop. Figgins with a dive. He sticks the landing and he's got the ball.
Nice play.
Arias robbed by the airborne Sean Figgins. It's 3-0 Seattle. like you like it. Monday Night Baseball at the ballpark at Seattle on top 3-0. Scott Feldman back to work. Franklin Gutierrez, Jose Lopez, and Mike Karp in the top of the third. A Michael Saunders 3-run homer has the M's on top. No damage yet from Ichiro. Yesterday, the leadoff man did all kinds of damage in that game against Tampa Bay. The unheralded John Jaso had a 5 RBI game.
And the way Jaso has been playing, he looks like a guy that is on his way to making a name for himself, too. He looks like a good hitter. Takes a lot of walks. Nice compact swing. Has a little bit of power. Looks pretty good.
The last time the Rangers allowed a 5 RBI performance from a leadoff hitter was 8 years ago. Jacques Jones did it. He's now trying to make it back to the majors. AAA ball for the Twins. In on him, slowly hit. Michael Young cuts in front of Blanco to make the play.
They generally say the third baseman takes whatever he can get, because if he's able to catch it, he's got usually a little bit shorter throw. That was a good example of that. I think Blanco could have made the play as well. One thing we know about Blanco, he can definitely field the ball coming in on the run and make the throw. Those two beautiful plays he made the other day at third base.
Feldman in with the 0-1. Down and outside. In the right, and a base hit. That's 6 hits for Seattle already. The Rangers still looking for their first. Mike Karp comes up. He started that 3-run uprising last inning with a single in the right.
Lopez, one of pretty much everybody on the team except Ichiro, who has not produced at the level that he's accustomed to producing at. Although he started to hit a little bit lately. He's hit some home runs. Only has 4 on the season, though.
Who did we decide Mike Karp looked like last year? Was it Dean Palmer? I remember us having that conversation. I can't remember who we came up with.
Let me look at him.
More like Chris Shelton now that I look at him.
A little Chris Shelton, a little Jack Howell.
Yeah. With just a touch of Jack Voigt.
I don't think he's a Dean Palmer guy.
No. Infield, the double play depth. And Karp cues one foul. The Rangers, by the way, close to being on the clock again at pick number 22. Pick number 20 is about to happen, and we'll talk a little bit later on with the Rangers brain trust about the thought process for what happened there at pick number 15. Jake Skoll, the center fielder, the high schooler out of Georgia. Inside to Karp. For the draft Knicks, this is fun. I mean, now you know who's off the board. You maybe have an idea of who the Rangers might be looking at, but as you said earlier, Tag, we don't know.
The format is really good for the people that love to get into it, because you've got the first round tonight, and then rather than going right into the sandwich round and the second round, you got all night to think about it. Get back on your computer, plan who's going to be the next day's pick. And the Rangers will have 2 early picks tomorrow, too.
If you've ever wanted to simulate being a major league GM or scouting director, this is your time. Your first draft was 84 that you were in on?
As a general manager, my first one was 85.
Throw down by Trainer is pretty good.
Boy, right on
Yes,
the
sir.
toe, he tagged him.
Blanco
Great
got
throw.
it down, and that's twice now that the Mariners have been caught on the bases. Lopez vaporized by Trainer.
The first draft that I would have been involved in somewhat would have been 1981 or 82, I guess, when I was working in the farm department and the scouting department. Odeby McDowell was our #1 pick back in the early 80s. Mike Rubel was a high pick. He was a second-round pick, but he was our first pick one year.
In 82, that was.
Was that 82?
Yeah, and then Jeff Kunkel was 83.
83. Who was 81?
81 was Ron Darling.
Ron Darling. Yeah, I was working in the scouting department with Ron Darling.
Oh, Arias, who remember is not accustomed to the hops he's getting at first. Only his third game at first base, and that ball had some weird English on it and kind of ate him up.
Well, like I said, he'll catch everything hit his way because he was a middle infielder. But it is a little bit different angle at first base than it is out at shortstop and second base. He just lifted up and the ball never came that far up.
There'll be an E3. And the dreams of being the best fielding first baseman in the history of the franchise are up in smoke.
There's been some good fielding first basemen in this franchise.
Boy, no kidding.
Way back when, Jim Spencer was a real good defensive player at first base.
Of course, on and on, whether you want to cycle through to Pete O'Brien or Will Clark.
O'Brien was real good. Will Clark was solid.
Rafi, Mark Teixeira.
Chris Davis is as good as any of them, too.
But Mike Rubel, not so much. Oh, we never saw Mike Rubel.
No, Mike Rubel was a real good power hitting prospect. It never quite got here.
Josh Wilson at the plate, and the reason he's smiling like that is he's got to be happy to be included with these guys. He's ahead of Derek Jeter. He wasn't even the best Wilson on the team to play shortstop. That was Jack Wilson had the starting job. And Josh is only getting the chance to play because Jack is hurt.
He's only got 100 at bats, so he's about 100 at bats shy of the leaders.
When you look at the Rangers, Tom, and the first baseman that they've taken first, Mike Rubel was the first one. Then it wasn't until Carlos Pena in 1998 we just saw him, and then Justin Smoke in 2008. And a lot of. Well, and Teixeira, right. Lost right by Tex. Sorry about that.
A couple of highly touted first basemen with Teixeira and Smoke, two consensus top 10 picks in the draft. The Rangers ended up with both of them. And both of them were probably picked a little lower than their talent would have indicated for signability reasons.
In a right center field, there is hit number 7 for Seattle. Hamilton slips and goes down. Harp was on his way to third anyway, so the error to Arias, and now 7 hits total.
Yeah, the thing that's really helped Scott is a couple of guys thrown out on the bases. Those are 2 of the 8 outs.
I don't know, that one didn't seem to be stepping on his pants leg like the other day in left field for Josh. Looked like he just kind of slipped on the grass. You know, the one position I got to say, Tom, that the Rangers have whiffed on when it comes to first round picks, that a couple times they've tried out the first round catcher, and that's always such a dicey. I mean, if you look in the history of the baseball draft, it's such a hit and miss thing at catcher. But they tried Scott Hurd in the year 2000 out of Hank Blaylock's high school in San Diego. And before that, it was not the pitcher Kevin Brown, but the catcher Kevin Brown. Actually, he was a second-round pick, right? In 94.
He was the Rangers' first pick, but in the second round. Actually, the position that's come out worse than that is shortstop. Those were
that's true.
A couple of real high picks. Jeff Kunkel was the 3rd pick. Monty Ferris was the 5th or 6th pick.
Benji Gill was number 19. That one's in for a strike to Rob Johnson. And back in '77, I guess it was, the Rangers took a first-round shortstop named Dave Hibner out of a high school in suburban Detroit. That didn't pan out either.
Hibner, I don't think ever got out of A-ball. I think that's the highest he ever played. I don't think he ever got to Double-A.
Then in '78,
contact problems.
Yeah. Well, and then, I mean, there was a stretch there. '78 was Amos Lewis was the first pick.
Yeah, he was a second-round pick, too, in the Rangers' first pick, but I think he was in the second round. I might be wrong on that. Yeah, Amos was a big kid, ended up playing a little bit of third base. I don't know that he ever got out of A-ball either.
Out of Astronaut High School down in Florida. In the left field, a base hit for Rob Johnson. And all this after the error. Well, you're right, Tom. Good thing the Mariners have made a couple outs on the bases here.
Yeah, this could have been a little bit better, obviously, except for the error. Would have been the third out of the inning. Since that error, there's been a couple of hits.
Well, the bullpen was stretched out a little bit yesterday. Rich Harden going only 5 innings. Still time for Feldman to get it together here, but right now he's got to face Saunders again, who's already hit a 3-run home run.
Yeah, as far as the bullpen's concerned, it's fortunate that Tommy Hunter, in his first start, all he did in 100-degree heat was go out and pitch 9. Shows what you can do if you command your pitches and throw all 3 of your quality pitches for strikes. He gave the veterans a little taste of what it's all about in that start.
Saunders lays off, takes a strike. That home run that he hit back in the second inning, our Coors Light cold hard blast. Just his 3rd home run of the year. It is 2 on, 2 out, and Saunders fouls this one against a one-time 30th round draft pick, just to show you that you don't have to be a first-round stud to establish yourself. Feldman won 17 games last year. The only other 30th round draft pick ever to do that was the late Darryl Kyle. Of course, Kenny Rogers was a 39th round draft pick. Saunders this time down on strikes Feldman out of the inning. The Mariners tack on an unearned run, and it's 4-0 in their favor. Folks, on Wednesday night, the Rangers and the Mariners play ball again. It's a $1 hot dog night and a Dr. Pepper autograph Wednesday. Rangers players and coaches signing autographs for kids 13 and under out in the concourse from 5:30 till 6. Get your tickets by calling 972-RANGERS or going to TexasRangers.com. David Murphy, a one-time first-round pick up there at the plate. There's a future first-rounder right there, Tag.
Could very well be.
Murphy to left field off Cliff Lee. Saunders drifting. Saunders has got it.
Good at bat right there for David, going the other way.
7 up, 7 down so far for Lee. And again, we're keeping tabs on the draft tonight. The Rangers have already taken at number 15, Jake Skoll, high school outfielder who is ticketed for Georgia Tech. What a day for Matt Trainer yesterday. First, his wife's biography comes out, gets sent out by the publisher. Then he takes the field and has his first ever 2-homer game. He's now got a career high 5 home runs. And what is this, June 7th?
Wait, the last couple of weeks, he's really improved his hitting. Looks like he's getting ahead of the bat out there, hitting the ball a little bit more out in front of him. He's getting tied up there for a couple of weeks, hitting a lot of weak fly balls to right field. But recently, he's been swinging the bat really well.
Battle of former 4th-round picks right here. Trainer in Lee. This ball is not going to get out. Shallow left this time for Saunders. It's 8 in a row set down for Lee to start the game. Had some help, though, on that one by Arias. A diving play by Sean Figgins. Once again, a little bit later, we expect to hear from John Daniels or somebody in that Rangers front office regarding the first 2 draft picks. The Rangers are about to make their second pick. We'll send intrepid reporter Jim Knox out to the war room. Blanco chop ball third base. Man,
hit that ball hard, but right straight at him.
3 perfect innings for Cliff Lee. Seattle's on top 4-0. Baseball programs throughout the state of Texas. If you'd like to learn more about Chevy's commitment to Youth League Baseball, go to ChevyTexasBaseball.com. 9 up, 9 down so far for Cliff Lee, and Scott Feldman, meantime, has struggled a bit. He's allowed 8 hits, and Seattle's got a 4-0 lead. We also have news, Tom, on the Rangers' second pick in that first round. The number 15 overall pick, we told you earlier, was the high school outfielder Jake Skoll. A Canadian catcher has been taken with the number 22 pick. Kellen Deglan is his name, D-E-G-L-A-N. The scouts like his power potential. Lefty swinging catcher. Figgins waves and misses. So again, we'll endeavor to get some word from the Rangers brass in just a little bit, and they can tell us what they like about Skoll and Deglan, the 2 top picks. The draft day has changed a lot. I'm looking at over your shoulder, Tom, and one of the TVs close to us has live coverage of the draft. Not so in 1965, I guess.
Well, in 1965, there might have been 2 or 3 players picked in the draft that were known all around the country. That's about it. Otherwise, it was maybe a local thing, a regional thing, where if you happen to have a person from Western Massachusetts drafted, those people might know. Other than that, no one in the country had the slightest idea, for a lot of reasons. There was no Baseball America. There were no sports stations. There was no sports radio. There were no traveling teams. Teams, you know, pretty much played locally. You might have a Legion team that goes somewhere, but nowadays the kids are so well known because the best players go to the showcases. Scouts see them all over the country. It's just an entirely different amount of exposure for kids today as 20, 30 years ago. Not even the same kind of deal.
My partner was picked in 66, the year after the first draft of 65. Number 6 overall. Off to Geneva, New York. Is that your first spot?
Yeah, actually I didn't sign. Played in Cape Cod.
Right.
And I didn't sign the first year. And Geneva didn't start until June. So I went to Burlington my first year. Never played. That was a high Class A league, and I wouldn't have had much of a chance in that league as a high school kid. So I was there for about a month working out, which was about as boring as it gets. And then when the season started in Geneva, I went to Geneva.
Figgins towards center. Hamilton racing on. He'll make the catch.
But the other thing that's changed is the minor league systems. Back then, there was only one short season team for the Senators was in Geneva, New York, and that wasn't even a rookie league. Most of those kids were college players, a few high school players. There was no extended spring. There were no traditional rookie leagues that you see in the complexes in Arizona and Florida. They didn't even exist. And so as far as the development of young players go, you couldn't have had a worse situation than what the Senators had back then.
And I looked it up,
ridiculous.
but what you missed by not playing for Geneva in 66, that team went 34-90. And their average home attendance that year was 247 people per game.
We weren't a whole lot better the next year. The other thing that took away from young players back then was the Army Reserve units. You know, you had a choice to make whether you would be exposed for the draft during the Vietnam War or try to get into an Army Reserve unit. And if you did, you had to go to reserve meetings every month for a weekend and a summer camp for 2 weeks. So in the course of a 5-month minor league season, you'd miss a minimum of 15 days going to reserve meetings and then 2 weeks for summer camp, which was almost a month of the season just for going to Army Reserve meetings. That took away from your development as well. So back in the Senators organization, if you were in an Army Reserve unit and had to come up through that system with basically no instruction, terrible ballparks, no rookie league team, and no Class A team, your development was pretty much up to you. Had nothing to do with the organization.
Good thing you were a self-starter. Ichiro walking for a second time, and Feldman had 87 pitches already on a warm night with 1 out in the 4th inning.
Yeah, I was really hoping that this would be a good game for Scott. You know, coming off the road trip, he had a start in Kansas City, a start in Chicago. And we've talked about the numbers weren't great, but I thought the stuff was much improved. But this is a step back today. A lot of pitches, some really good pitches.
The bunt from Milton Bradley is going to get Ichiro on to second base.
but just not the command and the control of his pitches that you need to see.
They are going to give a sacrifice on that one.
No way that's a sack. You can't hit in the middle of the lineup and get a bunt down with 1 out and get a sacrifice bunt.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Ian Kinsler didn't get a sacrifice bunt on the road with a man on second and nobody out, and he moved him to third base. They took away a sacrifice bunt.
Yeah.
That's Dan Shimmick, too. I'm going to get all over Dan Shimmick. He was getting on me before the game.
Good. Now you got it.
I got one to get on him about now. Dan Shimmick used to be our traveling secretary for a long time.
Well, and now that he's not anymore,
That will
he
not
can't
make him exempt from a bunch of ridicule that he's going to get for that.
What can he do now? Put you in a bad hotel room? No.
No, nothing.
You got no recourse. And he's about to get an earful of Tom Grieve in between innings here.
No. Next time I see him, I'm not going to make a point of doing that. But sacrificing, I hope, was so far out of Milton Bradley's mind right there. If he's resorted to sacrifice bunting with 1 out, you've really got a story.
That's not the guy with the 999 OPS then from a couple of years ago.
No. The only time I think I can say this comfortably, ever see a sacrifice bunt with 1 out is when it's a pitcher bunting in the National League, and you might as well pick up a base because he's got no chance to get a base in anyway.
We might be seeing that coming up. We got a bunch of games in National League parks in less than a week. That ball getting away after a swing and a miss by Gutierrez. Could be a pass ball on Matt Trainer.
In fact, I refuse to put sacrifice in my scorecard.
But you have to. It's, the guy called it in and everything.
This is not official. What's in front of me?
So just on principle?
Just on principle. But, you know, it says in the rule book that the benefit goes to the hitter. So in that regard, the scorekeeper's safe. But I still have no idea how Ian didn't get a sacrifice bunt. Whether he was trying to or not, it's not the point.
By the way, wild pitch, not pass ball, we're told on that one. And the count 2-2 to Gutierrez. More than 90 pitches already for Feldman.
This is not a good outing for Scott.
Now, kind of a similar thing with Rich Harden's 111 pitches through 5 yesterday.
And really, in the course of 162 games, it's going to be extremely tough on the bullpen if you've got back-to-back starters, veteran guys, not going, you know, your 6 or 7 innings every time out.
And the Rangers are at a stretch right now, Tom, where, well, I mean, they got a day off Monday the 14th, but that's a week from now. As you mentioned earlier, the whole bullpen did get a day off on Saturday. That's thanks to Tommy Hunter. And that outing looks more and more and more important. Check swing. No, he did go around, and Feldman needed that. He was off the mound and out of the inning. Ichiro stranded at third. the fourth inning. In the AT trivia question, there have been 10 number 1 overall picks that have played for the Rangers. How many can you name? Wow. Number 1 overall picks. When you think about it, since the Rangers haven't even been in business 40 years, that's a lot of number 1 picks to have passed on through. The Rangers themselves have had only one number 1 overall pick, and that famously was the high schooler out of Houston, David Clyde, back in 1973. I keep waiting for them to make a movie out of that.
Yeah, why haven't they made a movie? I never thought of that.
All the pomp and circumstance. There's a base hit for Gentry, the first base runner for the Rangers. Michael Young will come up. No perfect game for Cliff Lee tonight, though he is leading 4-0. Yeah, David Clyde was the high schooler chosen over Dave Winfield and Robin Yount, among others, in the '73 draft. Rangers also got Len Barker in that summer's draft, too, but nobody seemed to care. It was all about the big, strapping 18-year-old who had allowed 3 runs all year his senior year of high school in Houston, and he later said that was all in a Saturday morning game after he had spent Friday night out partying.
And unfortunately, partying played a role in David's lack of development, too, which he would readily talk about.
I can't imagine being 18 years old, being around all of that in the major leagues, being able to stay focused.
Yeah, and David shouldn't have been. He should have been in the rookie league, developing with kids his own age, getting 400 or 500 minor league innings, maybe more, before he got to the big leagues. And I really feel that if David had been developed the right way, he would have had a 10 or 15-year career as a very successful pitcher. Coming to the big leagues was just the absolute worst thing for his development. It was good for the Rangers.
Good for the gate, right?
Because they had no money, and it's the only time they drew anybody all season long, and it helped Bob Short's pocketbook, but it was absolutely the wrong thing for David. It just wasn't fair.
Wow, strike 3 to Michael Young. Kinsler comes up next.
I want to thank Sherry and David Watlington for the beautiful batch of 7-layer cookies that Sherry sent up. Celebrating David's birthday today. She also made some for him. Glad to hear that, but thank you, Sherry, very much. You'd be happy to know they're gone and didn't last very long.
No, they did not.
Also had a letter from Larry Smart from Bryant, Arkansas, or Arizona, maybe.
Well, that's a big difference.
What's AR? Arizona?
No, wait a minute. No, Arizona's AZ.
AZ, so AR must be Arkansas?
Yeah.
Okay, from Arkansas. Sorry, Larry. He wondered about the logistics when guys get called up from the minor leagues or sent back down. What do they do with their belongings, their apartment, their cars?
Yeah.
And basically, everybody's different, but you have to make your own arrangements. You are compensated for lost rent and travel expenses. But if you have a car in the minor league city and you're called up to the big league city, the Rangers are fortunate because on an off day or even in a morning, they can zip up to Oklahoma City and drive back in 4 hours or so. But if you're a long way from your major league city, you have to have it sent or just make whatever arrangements you can to have it transported by a transporter, maybe. A couple of years ago, I think it was Scott Feldman, must have been up and down between here and Oklahoma City 3-4 times. And I think what Scott did that year is he just kept an apartment in both places.
Yep. Makes it easier.
Yep. He was being compensated in a way that made it possible.
Ground ball, scooting into left, a base hit for Vlad Guerrero.
Well, now you got the position you want to be in.
Yep.
4-run game. You finally got a couple of men on, and you got a home run threat at the plate. This is what the Rangers need to try for right here. Hope for, I mean.
Pitch had a lot of the plate, and Vlad wasn't able to elevate it. But he's now hitting .382 at home with that one. Best home batting average in the majors. on a humid 92-degree evening here at the ballpark. Josh Hamilton will have his shot. Josh rested that right knee yesterday for the first 6 innings anyway, then pinch hit in the 7th. Cloud cover has absolutely moved in. There's been the occasional drop of rain when that has happened around town today. Hamilton down near first, but gobbled up by Carp, who will go to the bag and end the threat. The Rangers strand 2. It's 4-0 Seattle at the end of 4th. Was the #1 overall. And then recently, Josh and Adrian Gonzalez. There you go. Those are your 10. The Rangers have taken 2 of their 4 selections, first day selections, at number 15 and 22. We'll have more on that a little bit later tonight. They've still got the 45th and 49th picks to go.
Is that tonight? Does it go all the way through the sandwich round? Okay.
Top.
It was just the first. Did I hit that guy?
I beg your pardon?
That line drive? It looked like it hit the guy selling hot dogs out there.
I'll tell you what, I hope it didn't hit him because he didn't flinch. And that was a rocket. So
that guy right there?
That guy right there.
If it didn't hit him, it came right next to him.
Mark McLemore is the third voice that you hear right now, joining us as part of our commitment to Rangers Live. And you will see Mac and hear Mac after the game as part of that Rangers Live coverage. A little sweaty down there on the set?
Very sweaty. Hot, muggy, all of the above. But I'll tell you what, I'll take this over the cold any day.
Now, when you define cold, I mean, let's say it was 30. You take this over 30?
That's just not even cold. That's not even on my chart. I'm a Southern California boy, so anything below 55.
Really? Wow.
Anything below 55 is cold and too cold for me.
You got Western Massachusetts to your right and Western New York to your left. 30 is pretty good where I come from.
No, we didn't see that on our thermometers out in California.
Mac, we've been talking obviously about the draft quite a bit tonight, and interested to get your story when you were first summoned to the world of professional baseball.
Wow. Draft day for me, I actually thought I was going to be picked by the Houston Astros. And draft day for me was pretty interesting. I got out of school, went half a day for that day, went home and waited by the phone. Back then, there were no computers, no cell phones, so no text messaging.
I don't believe that. That's how could that
believe
be
it? Yeah, believe it. So I had to sit at home and wait by the phone, and I guess probably about 3 o'clock, I got a phone call, and it was the California Angels. Larry Himes was the minor league director at the time, and he called me and said, "Hey, we've just selected you in the 9th round." And I was stunned because I really thought I was going to go to the Houston Astros.
Why did you think the Astros?
Reggie Waller was the scout at the time for the Houston Astros, and I was with Reggie every day. I saw him literally every day, and I really thought I was going to be picked by the Astros.
What year was that, Mac?
1982.
82. Okay.
Yeah, so he said he put my name in as his guy, and I thought I was going, and it just did not happen. It didn't work out that way.
You know, back in the early 80s, the Rangers, the Mariners, and the Astros had their own scouting combine where we shared scouting information between the organizations. I mean, they had their scouts, we had ours, but all your reports were copied and sent to the other 2 teams as well. So we got to know Reggie very well. He was, in our mind, one of our scouts too.
That certainly wouldn't happen today, right, Tag?
No, it does not happen today. The Major League Scouting Bureau serves that purpose for every Major League team. They scout everybody and send their reports to all 30 teams.
Lifted to left, and Gentry is there. Scott Feldman needing a quick inning is on his way, you hope. A couple of fly balls.
I think what back then the 3 teams, Seattle, Texas, and Houston, said, you know, it's tough to compete with the higher market teams as far as scouting information because they just didn't have the budget to have that many scouts, and they were in the same boat. And so the thing that made the most sense was to share the information and triple the number of scouts that you had.
Here is Josh Wilson, the shortstop, and a strike from Feldman. These last couple games, Mac, obviously the starting pitchers, a lot of deep counts, a lot of work.
A lot of work. I'll tell you what, they've got to cut those pitches, that pitch count down. If you're going to throw 110, 115 pitches, you want to be in the 8th, 9th inning of those games and not in the 5th inning like again today.
The Rangers, as we mentioned earlier, threw 210 pitches in a 9-inning game yesterday. And some pretty impressive heat.
Probably the most efficient pitcher in the league right now is Cliff Lee, and he's averaged 110 pitches per start, and he's almost averaging 8 innings per start. He's about around 7 2/3, right around there per start, and that's, I guess, pretty much ideal numbers right there.
You know, the thing about it is I think he can continue this pace the rest of the year. Because remember, he didn't pitch in April at all. He wasn't activated until May. So having that time off, I think is really going to help him.
Yeah, it's going to save him probably what, 40 innings,
yeah.
30 innings. Should be stronger in September, right?
The 1-2, 2-out pitch rolled along to short for Blanco. Thank you, Mr. McLemore.
You got it.
Coming on up with us.
I like it.
See you on set, Rangers Live, when we're done.
All right, baby.
Thank you, brother.
You got it.
Thanks, Matt.
A 4-0 lead for Seattle.
Geico, and let's get the draft update. You take Jake Skoll, a center fielder out of Georgia High School. What did you like about Jake?
Well, our guys did a really thorough job here. I mean, this is all about our scouts and the work that they've done. But Jake Skoll is a premium athlete that we think's got a chance to play in the middle of the diamond, play center field. He's a football player. He's got some of that football mentality, but he really has a feel to play the game of baseball. He's not just a toolsy athlete. He's a toolsy athlete that can play the game. So can really run, can hit with some power, has a feel to hit. He's hit good pitching. You know, he injured his ankle early in the spring, and quite frankly, if he didn't and had played all spring, I don't think he would have gotten to us. So we're real fortunate to have him. Yeah, he was going to go to Georgia Tech and play football there as a safety. We'll see what happens there. That seems to be a heck of an athlete. Then with your second pick, you take a high school catcher out of Canada named Kellen Daglin. What about him? Yeah, another guy that our scouts did a lot of homework on and have followed for a long period of time. We've had a chance to see him play in Canada and the States. He came to Arizona on a touring team in spring training, so a lot of our guys saw him there. We saw him in a tournament in the Dominican, so he's played in a lot of international high-end competition. Can really catch. He's a pretty good athlete for a bigger guy at 6'2", behind the plate, can move back there. Good arm, left-handed power. Again, another left-handed premium position guy. Okay, we know you have two more picks going on this evening. What can we expect? Well, I think we're going to stay true to our philosophy of, taking the best guys available on the board. We're willing to be a little more patient, take a little more time for a guy that we think has a chance to have a bigger impact out on this field. Okay, John, appreciate the time. We'll let you get back to the draft room. There you go. John Daniels, General Manager of the Texas Rangers. Josh.
Thank you, Jim. Good get. Appreciate it. And as he said, and I know as you as a general manager, Tom, would point out as well, yeah, the GM has to come out and, tell everybody what's what. The scouts, they do a lot of that grunt work that JD was mentioning.
Yeah, this is the culmination of, for some scouts, maybe 40,000 miles in their car, going to a different game every day all around their area.
Murphy drops it into left field, a base hit after Arias had flied out.
For cross-checkers who go look at the best players all over the country, they're on a plane almost every day. Who knows how many miles they fly, but you want to talk about a bad schedule. A guy that's a national cross-checker, not just an area, but all over the country. He's on a plane almost every day. He gets picked up at the airport. He'll watch a game, goes right back to the airport. Maybe gets on a plane that night, takes a red eye, wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get a 6 o'clock flight to get in. If he can get 2 games in the same day, he's lucky. But that poor guy, after 3 or 4 months, he needs a couple of months off to recuperate from that job. So you're right. It's a lot of hard work by the scouts. I don't think they're underappreciated anymore because every franchise values their scouts and what it means to their player development. But this is almost like a break for them to sit down and try to get the players they've seen all season long, hope to get some of their favorite players.
Trainer hits one on the ground to short. Quickly turned. Oh, it's dropped at second, but that is an out. Figgins had it long enough. Trainer is safe.
What the umpire at second base, that's Mark Carlson, will rule is that he caught it and lost it as he was transferring it from the glove to the hand. It's a close call. It's a difficult call for an umpire, but Ron Washington's a middle infielder, and if he didn't think that was a good call, he'd be out there talking about it. Catches it and now loses it as he tries to transfer it to his throwing hand, and that is the correct call. To a fan in the stands, it looks like a terrible call, but actually that is the rule. He caught the ball and lost it as he transferred it.
Now Andres Blanco.
And when they talk about, was it Josh Skoll? Was that his first name?
Jake
Skoll. He sure sounds and looks a lot like Grady Sizemore.
He does, doesn't he?
Grady Sizemore was a center fielder with that kind of speed, who was also a football player, great athlete, tools guy who was a good baseball player. Interesting to ask the scouts that saw him all season long how they would compare him to Grady Sizemore.
And meantime, that number 22 overall pick, Kellen Daglin, keeping the Florida International University on the map. That's 2 players. Manny Machado, who was a recruit of FIU. Daglin, a recruit of FIU. They both go in the first round. Blanco singles to right. Make it 2 on with 2 out.
Well, there's a classic swing to take advantage of the hole between first and second when the first baseman is holding the runner on. That's all you have to do. It doesn't have to be hit very hard. All it has to do is be well placed. And the pitch is away, and nice job by Blanco. Going the other way, he's got the hole to shoot at, and he slices it right into right field. Second straight inning, the Rangers have had 2 singles in the inning.
And just to finish that thought quickly, Tom, on Florida International University, that's also the school that's got that Garrett Whittles. He's got that 50-odd game hitting streak going on. So they're
Was he still playing, or did they must have gotten eliminated?
No, I think they got one more to go. I could be wrong. Are they done? Dave Burchett tells me they're done. I think they lost to Dartmouth or something. Anyway, Dave says they're done, and I believe him. So, yeah, 55 or 50, I guess 56 game hitting streak, and the record is 58 at the college level. Gentry taking down. Well, here the Rangers have their shot. Get right back in this thing. Lee has only thrown 13 pitches out of the strike zone. We are in the 5th inning with 2 out. 13 balls and 42 strikes.
Well, he's walked 4 guys now in 57 innings.
Positively Greg Maddux-like.
Maddox, Dennis Eckersley-like.
Yeah.
If you multiply it by 4, that's 220 innings. 16 walks in 220 innings.
No, that's pretty close to what Colby Lewis did in Japan last year.
Yeah, only he's doing it in the big leagues. That is pretty remarkable.
Lee was a guy who in 2007 was sent down to AAA by the Indians with an ERA in the mid-6s. Then in 08, he won a Cy Young.
And if you ask people what's he doing different, I'm sure his pitches are a little crisper, but basically he has just learned how to command it and throw it where he wants to. Perfect example of how you can become a dominating pitcher if you've got excellent stuff to begin with. It's not like he was a mediocre pitcher stuff-wise. He had good stuff. But then you add to that pinpoint command of all your pitches, and you got a guy that's one of the best in the big leagues now.
At one point, as the Rangers were set to come up in the bottom of the 4th, Tom, the pitch count in this game was 95 for Feldman, 27 for Lee. Rangers making him work, though, a bit here in the 5th. 2 on, 2 out. Trying to stay in sole possession at first place. The Angels play the A's tonight. Those are the 2 teams nipping at their heels. Gentry takes. 3 and 2. 2 on, 2 out.
You can shoot one in the gap when the runner's running right here and got a ball game.
Runners go. Gentry hits it on the ground to short. Rangers strand a couple. And at the end of 5, they trail by 4. Lee tonight. Came in with an ERA of about 2.9. He's been keeping the Rangers in check this evening. No runs on 4 hits at the end of 5 innings. While Scott Feldman has struggled a bit. A 3-run homer by Michael Saunders, the big blow tonight as the Mariners lead 4-zip. We go to the 6th inning. Feldman stays out there for now, and that's to his credit. It's 111 pitches to get through 5 innings. That's exactly what Rich Harden had at the end of 5 innings yesterday. The Rangers went to the bullpen at that point. They will not do that here. Not yet. Could be a one and done. You've got the lefty Saunders after the righty Johnson. And Matt Harrison is ready out there in the pen. The slender right-hander, Mr. Feldman. We got a ground ball to third. Speaking of slender right-handers, Zach Lee out of McKinney has just been drafted by the Dodgers. Number 28 overall.
What a football player.
Yeah, he's supposed to go to LSU as a 2-sport guy. We'll see if the Dodgers can talk him out of that. Now the Rangers will stay with Feldman to face Saunders. Saunders struck out on an off-speed pitch in the 3rd, but he hit a 3-run homer in the 2nd. Saunders out of British Columbia, Canada, just like Rich Harden. We mentioned earlier that Rich Harden's dad briefly coached Saunders. The Rangers taking a catcher from British Columbia with the number 22 pick in the draft tonight, Kellen Deglin. Jake Skoll, the high school outfielder before that. The Rangers with 2 more picks tonight at 45 and 49. And that's because of Marlon Byrd signing with the Cubs and Pudge signing with the Nationals is why they get those 2 compensatory picks. Sometimes those compensatory picks are put to very good use. Tommy Hunter, for example, drafted when the Rangers couldn't re-sign Mark DeRosa. That worked out okay. 2 down, we go to Jim Knox.
All right, thank you very much, Josh. Got John Harris, one of the general managers of the Texas Collegiate League, which actually kicked off last week. But these are like future baseball stars for tomorrow, huh, John?
Yes, sir. We got 2 of the best teams in the TCL here combined, the North Texas Comprehensive and the McKinney Marshals.
And when do you guys play? Where do you guys play?
We're playing out of the ball fields at Craig Ranch up in McKinney, and then a handful of games down in Capel at the Capel ISD Baseball Complex.
And possibly maybe 1 or 2 drafted tomorrow, I hear?
We got a gentleman here who may get drafted tomorrow. Let's hope so. I'll let him introduce himself so he can get some.
Josh Easley out of Weatherford College.
Pitcher, right?
Yes, sir. Right.
Right. Nice hat there, and he's got a lot of Ranger autographs right there. They actually were down on the field before the game, mingling with some of the Ranger players. Guys, appreciate the time, and best of luck, all right? Good luck this summer. Thank you, John. Appreciate it, Josh.
Thanks, Jim, and welcome to all those guys. Here's Figgins with a base hit in the left. A 2-out single for Figgins, who's now 2 for 3, and that's going to be it for Scott Feldman. 120 pitches. That's a high for him.
Well, at least Scott finished strong. Up until that base hit to left, he'd retired 7 straight.
Yeah.
And since the 3-run homer, he'd only given up an unearned run in the 3rd inning. So I think there was a lack of command early, but he got straightened around a little bit and at least got through 5 2/3, which hopefully will allow Matt Harrison to get through the rest of the game. And unless you want to get Felice an inning, save the rest of the bullpen for tomorrow.
Harrison's coming.
Remind you to check out FoxSportsSouthwest.com. There you can find all the latest rumblings on that Big 12, Big 10, Pac-10, Pac-16, all that crazy business going on the college athletics landscape. Also a pretty good feature on there about Des Bryant making his transition from Oklahoma State Cowboys now to the Dallas Cowboys, of course, gentlemen.
Thank you, Em, very much. Matt Harrison, our Verizon Wireless call to the bullpen. He's going to have to take on Ichiro right now. No easy task, just to dip your toe in the water with that. Ichiro's walked twice tonight and is grounded out. Matt was in the starting rotation to begin things this year. Now, of course, in the bullpen. It's a high total of home runs for 38 innings, 7 of those.
Well, even if you're not in the rotation, at least through this point in the season, if you've been a long man for the Rangers, there's been no shortage of innings. You have plenty of chance to throw.
Rangers will have the top of the order up in the bottom of the inning, and it's coming up right now. Matt Harrison, nice reflexes, sir. A 4-0 lead for the Mariners standing up. You got young Kinsler and Guerrero about to hit. Time for the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic. The jackpot worth $1,900 and dinner for two at Sonic. Good luck to Billy Joe Smith from Irving. If a Ranger hits the Grand Slam this inning, we're giving away $1,900. Been a while. You can register at any North Texas Sonic restaurant. Grand Slam was worth $25,000. Michael Young, who has hit safely in 19 out of 21. 0 for 2 tonight. And the Rangers really need to get going here against Cliff Lee. Easier said than done. And a 4-hitter so far, 4 singles. Lee pretty much picking up where he left off. Tagged 8 innings of 5-hit, 1-run baseball against the Twins his last outing. Fires it right by Michael.
In his last 2 starts, he's pitched 8 innings in both of them, giving up 9 hits in 16 innings and 18 strikeouts. He's walked 3 guys in his last 2 games in 16 innings. But prior to that, in 36 innings, he'd only walked 1. He just locates his pitches so well. The Rangers have 4 hits. They're all singles. None of them have been things that have been ripped, but there's a fastball that starts out on the outside corner, and then the movement, the way it tails away from Michael, takes it out of the strike zone and keeps Michael from being able to make contact. Whatever you're looking for in a pitcher, he's got it. You name the qualities that you want a pitcher to have, and you're seeing it right here. Stuff, 91-mile-an-hour fastball, excellent changeup, cutter, control, speaks for itself, command, very little in the middle of the plate to swing at, good athlete, solid fielder, durable. You name it, he's got it. I think what would have been perfect for Philadelphia is if they were able to keep Lee to go along with Halladay. If they had both of those guys, they would have the best 1-2 punch in baseball, but even the Phillies evidently couldn't afford that. They gave up some young players to get Roy Halladay, and they got some back when they traded Cliff Lee, so their farm department stayed fairly well stocked. But if you're really going out to try to have the best team in baseball, and you had a chance to have both of those guys, that would pretty much make it one step in the right direction.
Inside to Kinsler here, 2-2. Starting to drip down some rain just a little bit. As humid as it is, I mean, that's just a product of, well, I'm no weatherman, but if you take a sponge and you twist it, you're going to get some liquid, I think. Kinsler, foul down near third. You know what will ruin a sponge, by the way, is a cheese grater. You ever try to wash a cheese grater with a sponge?
I guess you'd have to go in one direction, not come back against the sharp edge.
Yeah, I've learned the hard way. It's not a good idea to put the sponge on the
Probably
cheese
not
grater.
a good idea to do it with your bare hand either.
That is very true. Kinsler taking, called third strike on the inside corner.
I don't know if it's a strike or not, but it's pretty much, after you've seen the pitches he saw, an unhittable pitch. Looks like a good pitch from that angle. Like an impossible pitch to hit. So Michael swinging a pitch on the outside, and that one comes right back on the inside part of the plate.
Vladdy rip foot, it's caught and then dropped again. Josh Wilson will get it across anyway, and the inning ends. Mike Karp couldn't figure out whether or not to go to the bag, and then he finally did.
Neither could Vladdy.
4-0 end of 6. Through Thursday, You can enjoy all-you-can-eat seating at every Rangers game this year. Get an upper home run porch ticket plus all-you-can-eat at some ballpark favorites for only $34 for most games. Some restrictions to apply. Go to TexasRangers.com for details. Milton Bradley swings right away against Matt Harrison. And lifts one into center field. There is one down very quickly here in the 7th. Now, Scott Feldman ends up going 5 2/3, 9 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. And I think you're right, Tom. It's just a matter now of seeing if Harrison can pick it up from there and save the bullpen the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. He's the long man. Not usually the part of the game where you want your long man to pitch. But in a 4-0 game, it'd be great if Matt could come in and throw 45 pitches and pitch 3 1/3 innings. That would keep the bullpen from having to pitch. Be a little short for a long man tomorrow, but everybody else would be well rested.
Gutierrez an 0 for 3 night tonight. Harrison gets the inside corner.
That's a good cutter right there.
Well, this is one of those games, Tom, where you want one pitch back. You know, Saunders a 3-run homer into the first row.
Yeah, and you know the thing about that home run is the pitch before it was a real good cutter, right in on the fist, and it jammed him.
Harrison grabs it out of midair.
That's fielding your position out there. But anyway, Scott's pitch right before that was just what he was trying to do. Get the cutter in, jammed him, little dinky ground ball foul. Came back with the same pitch, but it kind of spun and was in the middle area of the plate. And that allowed Saunders to get the ball up in the air and hit it in the front row. Just, you know, a perfect example in back-to-back pitches of making a pitch and getting a good result and then missing your pitch and not getting away with it. And just because you make that pitch, the pitch you didn't want to make, doesn't mean the guy can't pop it up. Doesn't mean it's going to be a home run. But Scott just didn't get away with that one pitch. And you're right. One swing, 3 runs.
Got a 4-0 game here. 4-0 in Cleveland, too. The Red Sox shutting down the Indians tonight. Boston playing some pretty decent baseball, but they're just in the wrong division. Everybody's playing very good baseball.
Yeah, Boston's only 4.5 games out now, 8 games over, so a lot of baseball left, and they got their pitching up, going pretty good. Matt Suzuka's throwing tonight, throwing well. Buchholz has been pitching pretty well. Lester's back on track. Beckett's on the disabled list, and that hurts. Wakefield's been getting knocked around a little bit, but they've got 3 guys going pretty well.
Lopez sends another one foul. The only other American League action, that's the Angels and the A's tonight. The 2 teams right behind the Rangers. One of them a half a game out, the other a game out. Kazmir against Sheets tonight. Rolled to third.
Good inning right there.
Yes, indeed. 7th inning stretch. And the Rangers down by 4. Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by the Ford F-150. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag. It's on. And a very humid night at the ballpark tonight. There is strike one to Josh Hamilton. And boy, Cliff Lee, not that it's a big surprise, a strike throwing machine. 17 pitches out of the strike zone. We are in the 7th inning. All right, 18. On the night of the baseball draft, one-time #1 overall pick, Josh Hamilton went right ahead of Josh Beckett. Lift off to left. Saunders in pursuit, and he's got it.
First baseman, Joaquin Arias.
Hamilton hitting .370 the last 3 weeks, but 0 for 3 tonight. Brings up Joaquin Arias, who had an error that led to a run back in the 3rd, the only error of the game either side. Into the crowd it goes. Not a bad Monday night crowd here tonight. Same 2 teams tomorrow night at 7:05. Colby Lewis against Felix Hernandez. And Wednesday, your chance to see C.J. Wilson up against Ian Snell. Arias is gone.
Dialed it down a little bit to 76 miles an hour for the strikeout. Changes speeds, uses both sides of the plate, really gives the hitters a lot to think about and a lot to contend with.
Murphy eyeballs a strike on the outside. The Mariners again weathering the retirement, the fairly abrupt retirement of Ken Griffey Jr. last week. I always thought that would come down in a much different way. You know, it was just kind of an all of a sudden, oh, by the way, kind of a press conference.
Yeah, I agree.
Griffey wasn't even there.
I think he did the right thing, though. Rather than linger as a player who wasn't a regular player, the production wasn't there. I think he did the right thing.
To third, nice play. Lopez to Clark. Yep, and Murphy is out. Now at the end of 7, and the shutout still intact for Cliff Lee. It's 4-zip. Ranger Baseball brought to you by your Texas Chevy dealers, proud sponsor of Texas Baseball, and by Yokohama. Technology drives better tires. We just played Kiss an Angel Good Morning here, and Charlie Pride is actually in the house watching this one tonight. A very, very strong Ranger fan is great Charlie Pride. There he is.
Charlie's had those seats forever.
To the 8th inning, and Mike Karp will take down low from Harrison. The guy's got to score some runs for Charlie tonight.
Scoring runs has been pretty tough. Been tough for the whole league against Cliff Lee, not just tough for the Rangers tonight.
Yeah, Lee is one of those guys that will take even a strong hitting team and neutralize them. That has certainly happened tonight. We go to Jim Knox.
All right, thanks, Josh. Time for the progressive fan of the game. It has to be Little Hunter. He's taken in his very first Ranger game. Got his glove out right there. Let's take his hat. There we go. Okay, look at that. Look up that camera right there, Hunter. You see that? You want to say hi to Mom?
Which one? Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. There we go. He got the progressive bag, the hat, the shirt. Congratulations, Little Hunter. Having fun?
Yes.
All right, buddy. Enjoy the game with Casey. Mom's watching at home.
Nice.
Hi, Mom.
Thank you.
He's still looking for the camera.
Future
what camera are you talking about?
Future broadcaster has no idea which camera to look at. Well, for a first game, I mean, he looks like he's having plenty of fun anyway, but telling you, buddy, most times the Rangers score more than 0. But again, Cliff Lee has been the storyline tonight. The AL Cy Young winner in 08, AL All-Star Game starter that year. Matched against Ben Sheets, a guy we kept hearing would be a Ranger. And obviously is now in Oakland A. Right into that Jexa Energy strike zone. Make it 2-2 to Josh Wilson. Off speed, topped to second base. Out number 2.
6 ups, 6 down for Matt.
Yeah, you like that.
Only 21 pitches to do it.
Couple National League scores we haven't gotten to. Tag the Padres. Still a surprise story. I know you're not sold, but surprise story of the National League. They're leading and now have beaten the Phillies 3-1. Wade LeBlanc over Cole Hamels.
That's a pretty impressive win right there.
3 solo homers from former Rangers. 2 from Adrian Gonzalez. 1 from Jerry Hairston Jr.
Hairston territory.
Yeah, he found it. That's 7 this year for Jerry Hairston Jr. Giants beat the Reds 6-5. As you look at the NL West, there are those miracle Padres. A game up on the Dodgers, 3 up on the Giants. Again, the Giants winning in Cincy tonight, 6-5 in the 9th. Ground ball charged by Michael Young. Rob Johnson is out. And that's it in the top of the 8th. 4-zip Seattle. Rangers with some work to do against Cliff Lee. Trainer about to lead off for the Rangers bottom 8 in our Coors Light Freeze Cam. Trainer has been active behind the plate tonight, throwing out a couple of attention Seattle base runners. Or base stealers, I should say. They were definitely running. Didn't even attempt that. They got that done. It was the stealing part that didn't go well. Your Coors Light Freeze Cam, a 4-0 lead for Seattle. And right now, Cliff Lee at a scant 80 pitches. Take on the 8-9-1 part of the Ranger batting order. Trainer lofting one fairly deep center field, back to the track, but caught by Gutierrez. New first baseman too, to tell you about, by the way. Casey Kochman is in the game.
Doesn't look like the fly balls are getting any extra help from the elements tonight. In fact, a couple of them look like they've been knocked down a little bit.
Andres Blanco, the batter. He's got one of the 4 Ranger hits tonight. A little opposite field knock in the right. Another local product has just been drafted. Tag at a Mansfield legacy. Noah Syndergaard, a hard-throwing right-hander. Toronto has popped him, and Robbie Alomar announced that draft pick. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Again, if you're just joining us, the Rangers with 2 picks so far. They'll have 2 more tonight. Jake Skoll, the highly thought of high school outfielder out of Georgia at number 15 overall. Kellen Daglin, the catcher, going at number 22 overall. The Rangers will pick 45th and 49th tonight. I believe they're now on about pick 40 or 41. Blanco tied up. And not thrilled about having done that, but that's Cliff Lee tonight, and he's on.
He's had a good curveball. Last couple of strikeouts have been with curveballs. Arias, and it's a good curveball too, boy. Good command with it. Sharp breaking pitch.
So let's get this straight, Tag. No walks, right? And 7 strikeouts
no walks,
tonight.
7 strikeouts.
So what are we looking at for the year now? 4 versus 57?
In about 60 innings. 4 walks in 60 innings. 1 every 15 innings.
And a strikeout per inning.
And right at a strikeout per inning.
That's pretty good.
He's had 1 complete game this year. It was an 8-inning complete game.
They had the 7 near spotless innings against the Rangers right at the end of April.
Well, if you look at those 7 innings combined with these 8 innings, you've got some pretty good pitching.
Well, as a matter of fact, we'll add it up as we go to break. 15 innings of 7-hit baseball with no walks and 16 strikeouts. So hats off to Cliff Lee. Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by Southwest Airlines, also by Progressive and by the Ford F-150. Matt Harrison has done a nice job coming out of the bullpen. Scott Feldman used a lot of pitches to get through his 5 2/3. And Harrison has been very judicious with his use of pitches. Quickly ahead of Michael Saunders, who has the big hit in this game, a 3-run homer into the first row of the stands. And that could make a loser of Scott Feldman tonight if the Rangers don't have a big 9th inning. There's no action in the Seattle pen. They're going to be looking at Cliff Lee trying to go all the way.
Yeah, he's got an easy pitch count right now. If he keeps throwing pitches at the same rate, he's got a chance for a complete game under 100 pitches.
In there, Harrison strikes out Saunders. And ever since the home run, the 3-run homer, nothing's happened for Saunders.
Not much has happened for Seattle either, other than the unearned run in the 3rd inning. They've only had 1 hit in the last 6 innings. With a base hit by Figgins.
8 straight set down by Mr. Harrison now. The batter is Sean Figgins, and he'll take up and in.
Well, good job by Matt. He's at 30 pitches right now. We've seen over the last couple of weeks innings where the pitcher has thrown 30 pitches. He's got a chance to get through 3 1/3 in under 40 pitches. That'd be just what the doctor ordered tonight. He's helped himself out with a couple of nice plays, a 1-hopper by Ichiro and a line drive by Gutierrez that he fielded. Both of them looked like they were headed into center field for base hits.
Mariners making their first selection, by the way, in the draft right now, and our old friend Dave Valley is doing that for them. The Rangers will be on the clock again soon. A lot more of the draft tomorrow. Harrison fires it by Figgins on 3-1. Figgins just kind of carves it into right.
Well, Figgins must not like hitting ninth. That's his 3rd hit of the night. He won't be there for long. That's not what they had planned. It's just to try to get something going offensively for the team, but he'll be back there at number 2.
Got 3 hits tonight. Baseball fans, Chevy, a proud sponsor of youth baseball throughout the state of Texas. If you'd like to learn more about Chevy's commitment to youth league baseball, go to ChevyTexasBaseball.com. Now the Rangers will have 2, 3, 4 in the order batting in the bottom of the 9th. That's the good news. Bad news is it's still going to be a dose of Cliff Lee to deal with. Ichiro whacks one into the crowd of 20,152 on this marshy Monday night. Can you see humidity? Is that possible?
Yeah, it does. It feels like it's not crystal clear out there right now.
It looks very Houston-y right now. It looks like you could just take a handful of air. We may have some humidity on the horizon, Mr. Grieve. The 4 days about to be spent in Miami.
Yeah. And then from there to Houston.
Oh, my goodness.
Ouch.
That's right. Ichiro rolls to second. Dropped by Kinsler. Did he tag him? Yes. To end everything right there. But Ichiro does reach.
Yeah, Ian was going to try to get it, tag Figgins, and get Ichiro. Would have been a tricky little double play. He almost pulled it off.
Tough to double up Ichiro, and Figgins. A little game of hokey pokey breaks out there. Now Milton Bradley. And if the Mariners are going to get cranking here, especially with Griffey having retired now. Casey Kochman not really hitting. They need Milton Bradley to step up and get going.
Rangers picked Luke Jackson, a right-handed pitcher. And Pete O'Brien did the picking.
Very nice. Now the Rangers finally pop a pitcher. Out of Florida High School is Luke Jackson. I guess he's got a commitment to play at the University of Miami. We'll see if the Rangers can talk him out of that. One more pick before it's over tonight for the Rangers. I guess the Cardinals, the Rockies, and Tigers will go next, and then the Rangers come up again. From earlier tonight, way earlier tonight, no big surprise about Bryce Harper going #1 overall to Washington. And if you listen to how the scouts have raved about Harper and of course about Steven Strasburg, who's going to make his big league debut tomorrow, it sounds like that's the battery for the next decade going forward right there. Harper catching Strasburg.
Let's put it this way. If it's not, they're going to be severely disappointed.
Yeah. Runner was going. Ichiro is down there to second base, and I think that is going to be a stolen base. Trainer couldn't handle the pitch, but Ichiro was gone. It is a stolen base.
Those kids were the consensus #1 players. There wasn't much question about either one of those kids. Took a ton of money to sign Strasburg, and it's going to take a ton of money to sign the other kid, too.
17 years old and put himself in junior college to try to move things along for himself.
He graduated a year early from high school to go to junior college.
And that is a Scott Boras production, is that correct,
yeah,
with Harper?
That will be. Just like Strasburg was.
The 2-2 from Harrison. Got him swinging. And now the Rangers will have their chance. Bottom of the 9th coming up against Cliff Lee. Our Jaguar extraordinary performer tonight. That's got to be Cliff Lee, right? They're working on the 4-hitter into the 9th inning, looking for the complete game against the Rangers. No walks, as usual. He has struck out 7. And for a guy who's known as a fly ball pitcher, he's been getting some groundouts tonight. Just a tough night at the office for the Rangers.
It was going to be a tough night for any team at the office facing him tonight. you have to do is watch the location of the pitches. There's just nothing in the middle of the plate. Everything's on the corners, up, down, you name it, changing speeds. I don't know what else you can say about the guy. Other than if you're a hitter, you're going to have a tough night. Good night for Matt Harrison, though. 3 1/3. Somewhere around 40 pitches, only 1 base runner. That was a single. A couple of strikeouts. Got Jeff Russell making the next pick. Had Pete O'Brien for the first one. They picked Mike Olt, a third baseman from the University of Connecticut.
Well, the current third baseman is not going to be unseated anytime soon. Michael Young reminds us of that with career base hit number 1736. 11 away from Pudge Rodriguez. So we've done it. We've seen the Rangers make all 4 picks while on the air here. University of Connecticut third baseman Mike Olt, O-L-T.
Michael had to hit a good pitch right there, too. That's down and in. Not even a strike that he hit into left field. I love the way the teams have done it. They're all sending in ex-players to make the choices. Saw Dante Bichette doing it for Colorado. Wally Joyner's made a few of them for the Angels. They've had a lot of picks tonight. American League West, the Angels and the Rangers had something like 9 out of the first 50 picks. .91 pitches right now for Cliff Lee.
Yeah, at the very least, if the Rangers can't drive him out of the game, get that pitch count up over 100 already. Only 21 balls against 71 strikes. Towards third, it's foul. One inning where he even approached 20 pitches. On a night when Feldman was over 20 pitches in every inning except one. Caught in the crowd. Nicely done. Vlad Guerrero on deck. And Kinsler rolls it into right field. Here come the Rangers with 2 on and nobody out. And nobody working in that bullpen for Seattle.
But all the hits are pretty much the same kind of hits. Ground balls that have found holes. But you got the middle of the order guys coming up to get another base runner and one swing of the bat. Can be a heartbreaking tie game for Cliff Lee.
Kinsler just stays on that and has his first hit tonight. Rick Adair, the pitching coach, will go to the mound. And there will be action in the Seattle bullpen for the first time. Got the closer going up, or getting up, and that's the guy that will be with Tom Grieve on November 20th. I know that. He's in the Cape Cod League Hall of Fame class this year with you, David Artsman.
In the same class, you're right.
You will get to know David Artsman.
That's right.
Hamilton has moved on deck, and Vlad Guerrero punches it in the air to center. Young tags and goes to third.
Doing a changeup, took a little off it. Vlad got it up in the air, but without much behind it. A little bit out in front of it.
Oh, remember, Lee has given up only 1 home run in close to 62 innings now this year. Hamilton will have a shot, and Justin Smoke has moved on deck, so 2 power hitters. But the Rangers are down 4. Hamilton, ground ball up the middle, base hit. Kinsler rounding and heading for third. It's 4-1, and the tying man coming up.
Well, the Rangers are finding some holes with those ground balls. That's 3 of them in this inning.
What looked like a complete game shutout is now in peril. And the way Justin Smoke has been swinging the bat, this is maybe the guy you want up right now.
The complete game is in peril. The shutout is a thing of the past.
The Rangers still without an extra base hit tonight. 7 singles, and that one gets them on the board. Come on, round the cap. Justin Smoke leads American League rookies in home runs. And his 1-for-1 pinch hitting, by the way. He has 1 homer as a righty. That was in Oakland. He swings and sails it towards the crowd. The Angels, by the way, leading the A's 2-0 in the second. After Smoke, David Murphy. On this night that we talked about the first round of the draft, all these first rounders in a row trying to make a difference here. Hamilton, Smoke, and Murphy. And Justin pops it back through this humid air into the crowd.
You know, with advanced scouts, they're going to give their pitchers the information they've seen coming into this game, and Lee has thrown just an off-speed pitch right there. He's going to see a lot of slow pitches. He's shown that he can hit the fastball, and he's getting better at hitting the off-speed pitches too. Making some little adjustments, coming along very nicely.
Lee now at 100 pitches. Ardsma in the bullpen. Smoke, ground ball. Diving stop at third, the plate at second, in time barely as Kinsler trots home. It's 4-2, and that was real close at second base.
Boy, that would have been nice if that ball got through. Would have been asking for a lot. Would have been the 4th average ground ball to get through the infield in 5 batters, but it almost did. It took a diving play by Lopez to keep that from happening.
Well, Lopez really. Boy, look how quickly he gets there, too. The Mariners moving him from second to third. There was a lot of conversation about that. Figgins goes to second and stretches to barely get Hambone. So now it's Lee against Murphy. And Lee, boy, incredible, Tom. 22 pitches out of the strike zone all night. Make it 23.
On his off-speed pitches right now. Hang one of those slow curveballs to David. He's got a good chance to pull one to right field.
Slowly hit up near first and foul. The Rangers shut out into this bottom of the 9th inning. Have come up with 2 against Lee. And again, the Angels and the A's playing tonight. Both of those teams just a half a game or a game behind the Rangers. Seattle trying to impress everybody to the point that we think that they're still in the mix too. Outside corner.
Good pitch too. Slider right there.
Chopper slowly hit. Murphy. Oh, and Lee got it, dropped it. He had to barehand it, and he couldn't hold it. It would have been an unbelievable play, but he didn't make it. And it's going to bring up the man that hit the 2 home runs yesterday, Matt Trainer. Wakamatsu's got a heck of a call to make now. Do you get the closer or do you stay with Lee?
They're imitating the umpire's call.
Don Wakamatsu will say this is a night of 8 2/3 innings, apparently. But you know what? He's going to talk to the first base umpire, Jeff Nelson, first.
Not much doubt that he didn't catch the ball, I don't think. Let's take a look at it.
Kochman, and it went right through the fingers of Lee. Wasn't a perfect feed from Kochman, the Gold Glove caliber first baseman. If the glove's on that hand, it's a perfect feed, but of course Lee is a lefty.
Yeah, in slow motion, it stays in his hand a little bit, but there's no control over that ball.
Now they're going to get together and talk about it actually here. That's what Wakamatsu wanted them to do, apparently. Wanted to get one of the other umpires involved and maybe had the dead-on look.
Look at it in real life, real time. I don't think he had it.
No, you got to have it clawed. You got to have possession of it.
You're going to get a real argument here if he calls him out.
That would end the game if they overturn it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That would be a complete game. And you can see they're kind of pantomiming what they each think happened right there. I would think Wakamatsu is going to make a stopover at the mound here to get Artsma, or no? No, apparently not. Cliff Lee's going to have a shot here. Lefty against righty to get the complete game win. But he could also suffer a walk-off loss. We'll have to figure out who to give the error to. If it's on Kochman, that's newsworthy. Because he's very close to setting an all-time record for most consecutive errors, or excuse me, consecutive games without an error by a first baseman.
I don't think there's no way you can give it to Kochman. That ball was right there, slightly behind Lee, but
I agree. I mean, it's on Lee. Should be on Lee.
He got his hand on it. Just didn't. He tried to barehand it.
We just haven't had it called in yet. Trainer socks one foul.
Matt doesn't have any hits tonight, but he's had some good rips. Shoot one in the gap right here. And he got an unlikely turnaround in this game. 4-0 to 4-4.
Murphy some pretty good wheels. He used that tying man, and yeah, Trainer, who was on base 4 times yesterday, including a pair of home runs. Pops it up, and there is Kochman. There is the ball game. Rangers showing some life in the bottom of the ninth, but Lee has his complete game. He puts that ball in his pocket. And he pretty much did have this thing all the way. 107 pitch complete game. 4-2 Seattle, the final. The Rangers Live coming up after the break with Dana and Mac on Fox Sports Southwest.